welcome to the prime time news hour. Let's get you the latest on the Arvind Kejriwal bail. There is supreme relief for Kejriwal, but with bail conditions. He can't enter the Chief Minister's office, he can't sign off any official documents and files, and the conditions imposed in the ED case are here to stay, viewers. Also, he must cooperate with the trial court whenever summoned. He must fully cooperate with the investigating bodies and the ongoing probe, and he can't make any public comments on this case. But big relief for the Delhi Chief Minister despite the conditions nevertheless. Viewers, these are crucial developments in the national capital today, wherein the Supreme Court has granted bail to Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal in the excise policy case. The top court had reserved the verdict on the 5th of September after hearing counsels representing Arvind Kejriwal as well as the CBI during the hearing of the case. Additional Solicitor General S.V. Raju, appearing for the CBI, had objected to Kejriwal for not approaching the trial court for bail. Justice Bhuyan has underlined that bail is the rule and jail is the exception. The Delhi Chief Minister was arrested by the ED on the 21st of March in connection with the money laundering probe relating to the irregularities in the now scrapped Delhi excise policy case. On the 26th of June, he was arrested by the CBI while he was in the custody of the Enforcement Directorate in this matter. 6 months after he was first arrested in the alleged Delhi liquor policy scam, Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal has been granted bail by the Supreme Court in the CBI case today. Kejriwal now becomes the fourth high-profile leader to walk out of jail in this case after the AAP leaders Manish Sisodia, Sanjay Singh, Vijay Nair and Bharat Rashtra Samiti's or BRS's K. Kavita. Kejriwal's release will also come as a shot in the arm for the Aam Aadmi Party ahead of the Haryana Assembly elections, where the party is gearing up to challenge the incumbent BJP and its India bloc partner, the Congress. Some context here for those who have not been following up on this story. Something unprecedented had happened in India. A sitting chief minister had been arrested in India 5 months ago. I'm talking about Arvind Kejriwal. He used to head the government in Delhi. He also leads the Aam Aadmi Party, one of the 6 national parties recognized by the Election Commission of India. So he is an important political player, and as expected, there was huge backlash in the country at the time. We remember the massive protests, the dramatic visuals of his arrest. The showdown was almost filmy, with a lot of accusations flying around. Tonight, we are looking at 5 questions linked to this story. Number 1, why had Kejriwal been arrested? It has been brewing for quite a while now. The Delhi government had been accused of corruption in a liquor case. It's been investigated by multiple agencies. One of them is the ED or the Enforcement Directorate. Arvind Kejriwal had been named as a conspirator. So they asked him to appear for questioning, but he refused to go. He skipped 9 summons, viewers, by the ED. So eventually, the ED team had turned up at his house at around 9 p.m. local time. He was taken into custody. Arvind Kejriwal spent the night in a small cell inside the ED head office. Viewers, this dramatic incident occurred 5 months ago. He remained in the ED custody till March 28th. That is 6 days. Question number 2. What is this liquor scam, by the way? What is the real story behind it? In most Indian states, the governments run liquor shops. It's a big money spinner for them. But Delhi tried to change that. Kejriwal's government in New Delhi introduced a new liquor policy in 2021. Now, it allowed private players to open liquor stores. At the same time, the government shops were shut. The idea here was twofold. A, to improve customer experience, and B, to generate more revenue. At first, it seems to work. Delhi reported a 27% rise in revenue from liquor. But soon there was trouble. Delhi's top bureaucrat flagged issues with this policy. He said that the government was running losses. How much? almost 580 crore rupees, which is $69 million. He also said that Delhi ministers were getting kickbacks. So basically they were taking money in exchange for liquor licenses. That was the charge, and that's where the case started. First, the CBI opened the probe, that's the Central Bureau of Investigation. They started the probe, and then the ED, the Enforcement Directorate. Which brings us to question number 3. Was Arvind Kejriwal the only one behind bars in this case? No, he wasn't. Delhi's former Deputy CM Manish Sisodia was also in jail. So was Satyendra Jain, another former minister, Sanjay Singh, a party lawmaker, and K. Kavita, a politician from Telangana. So, some big names had been arrested in this case. Now, to question number 4. What did Kejriwal do next? His party had approached the Supreme Court of India. They wanted to quash his arrest. But the very next day, that same request was withdrawn. So Kejriwal was presented to a Delhi court, and the ED wanted his custody for 10 days. They said that he was the kingpin of this liquor case. Kejriwal's lawyers, of course, rejected this. They said there was no evidence whatsoever to keep him in jail. The court gave its verdict too. Arvind Kejriwal was to remain in ED custody for 6 days, which then raised a constitutional question in this country, viewers. His party said that Kejriwal would remain chief minister. But how would he govern from jail? In the past, in the history of this nation, chief ministers have resigned before their arrest, like Jayalalitha in Tamil Nadu and Lalu Yadav in Bihar. But Kejriwal did not step down. So what did the law say about such a situation? Unless he is convicted, there was no objection for him to resign. There was no obligation whatsoever. That's what the law said. That's what the law stated 5 months ago following his arrest. But governing from jail also posed logistical challenges. A chief minister has dozens of meetings every day, but an inmate is allowed only 2 meetings per week. So how do you navigate that? Plus, the union government was also seeking legal advice on the matter. Some experts had speculated that the centre could suspend or dismiss Kejriwal, and viewers, do not forget the question of ethics here. Conviction or not, should a jailed chief minister continue to govern? This entire fiasco has raised many concerns building up to today. Today, viewers, Arvind Kejriwal has been granted bail by the Supreme Court. And finally, we have question number 5. How would this episode affect the upcoming elections in India? In many ways, this arrest had galvanized the Aam Aadmi Party. They planned massive dramatic protests. It also brought some unity in the opposition, and most parties, surprisingly, decided to side with Kejriwal. They said that the government was weaponizing central agencies, basically using the ED to target the leaders. At the same time, there was criticism seen in the country too. The Aam Aadmi Party emerged from an anti-corruption movement. Arvind Kejriwal was elected on a no-graft promise, but then he was also arrested on the same charge, corruption. So, many voters might say that there is no smoke without fire. Now, we do know how this case has played out. We have seen it today after all. Arvind Kejriwal is out from the Tihar jail, and it is already raising the temperatures ahead of voting in Haryana and ahead of voting in Delhi as well. Viewers, that brings me to the spotlight of the show. To throw more light on this matter, we have Dr. Viveik Pandit joining us live today at CVR English newsroom all the way from Uttar Pradesh. And now, Sir is quite a prominent figure in the world of literature. He has more than 20 books to his credit as an author. And when he is not writing, he serves as a professor at a distinguished management institute, an avid communication coach and a mentor, and a dedicated blogger he is. We welcome you to our primetime news hour, sir.
Thank you, Anukriti. Thank you for having me on your show.
So, sir, I would dive right into the main topic for today's show. Everyone is coming together. It's a big boost for the Aam Aadmi Party today. Delhi's Arvind Kejriwal has got a bail today, sir. How do you view this entire development, sir?
I'm not sure if you've noticed, Anukriti, today is 13th, the Friday. And this 13th, the Friday, has turned out to be a lucky day for Aam Aadmi Party. So my congratulations to Aam Aadmi Party. They deserve their leader, and their leader is out. So it's a big day for Aam Aadmi Party, no doubt. But Anukriti, for me, I think two people have been released from the Tihar jail, not just one. One is Arvind Kejriwal, the person, and the second person is Arvind Kejriwal, the Chief Minister of Delhi. So there is a big difference. While I congratulate Arvind Kejriwal, the person, for being released on bail, and he's simply out on bail. He's not been exonerated of the charges which have been leveled against him.
True.
And the second person is the Arvind Kejriwal, the Chief Minister. So I would not like to welcome back that Chief Minister because by way of constitutional propriety, if you are charged with some serious offense, and in this case corruption, so I feel sorry for the people of Delhi, and since I'm as a citizen of this country, I feel that Mr. Kejriwal should have, and even now it's not too late, he should step down from his position before he goes on with his life. That is what I have to say.
So,
it's a big day for the party, but I don't think this is a big day for the nation.
So, keeping this entire scenario in mind, Leader of Opposition from the Delhi Assembly, Mr. Vijayendra Gupta, has made a radical statement today. And according to him, and I'm quoting him, all those who are involved in this Sharab Kand will eventually have to go back to jail again, and it's only a matter of time before they are sent behind bars. According to the BJP, Kejriwal's bail has sort of painted a very tainted picture because clearly it is a big corruption charge in the liquor scam, and the bail does not prove someone either guilty or innocent. What are your thoughts on this matter, sir?
Absolutely. He's very right technically because he's simply out on bail as clearly we all can see. He has not been exonerated. The trial is yet to begin. We are still at the stage where evidences are being collected, although certain charges have been framed, but the trial has not begun. So, like in the past, when he was given the bail earlier during the Lok Sabha elections, this time too, I'm sure once the elections are over, the court will ask him to go back to the jail. So that is where Mr. Arvind Kejriwal will have to go and then face the charges. So I think it is a straightforward scenario whereby an individual has been released. I think the courts have granted, they have kept the sensitivity and the empathy factor in mind and released the individual because the party has to face the assembly polls in Haryana. I think that's a reasonably fair decision to make. The level field has to be provided to every political party, and he is a constitutional head of a state, and there is no flight risk involved. So, and as you said that jail should be an exception, and bail is what we should always be looking at. So I think in all fairness, the right decision has been made by the honorable judges. But yet the story is far from over.
Like you said, sir, a very interesting point raised by you is the point of empathy, and the Honorable Supreme Court has eventually stated that we can't keep a person jailed for an indefinite or an infinite period of time because ultimately every citizen of the country deserves liberty. And so that is probably one of the reasons why Arvind Kejriwal is out of jail today on a bail. But he has not been proven guilty and he has not been proven innocent either. But liberty is a right of every citizen, and that applies to Kejriwal as well. So probably that that angle of empathy and that angle of liberty is also working at this point, wherein we are watching the leader of the Aam Aadmi Party stepping out of the Tihar jail, because liberty and justice applies to all, and we can't keep a person in a jail for an indefinite period of time until that person has been proven guilty. So liberty is definitely at play here, sir. What are your thoughts?
Absolutely, liberty and justice, we all are for that. But on the case of morality, on the case of proprietary, the individual needs to step down from the constitutional position. I'm very clear about that. You are in jail for one day and you've been accused of something, and these are accusations for which Kejriwal himself has been fighting for his entire political career, and which are grave corruption charges. So the onus is definitely on Mr. Kejriwal. The courts have done their job. They've upheld proprietary, they have upheld justice, liberty, everything.
They've upheld
But
empathy as well.
I think the sword is still dangling on Mr. Kejriwal's head.
True. Like you rightly said, sir, the whole Aam Aadmi Party was generated out of an anti-corruption movement at the end of the day. And today the charges are based on corruption. Now, interestingly, sir, Aam Aadmi Party's counsel, Mr. Somnath Bharti, has also said, and I'm quoting him here, कि एक काल्पनिक, he's used the word काल्पनिक, एक काल्पनिक शराब घोटाले को आप बना के अपने हमारे सारे नेताओं को जेल में रखते हो. Now the duty of AAP's counsel is obviously to defend the party leaders, and we get that. That's what they're supposed to do. But sir, how far is this statement true, and how kalpanik was this Sharab Ghotala after all? Was there no truth attached to the story, or was it all sensation above sense?
Anukriti, it is sad, but we live in times where people brazen it out, and it is really ironical, it is saddening that certain statements are made which should not be made in the first place. So I really hope and pray that for the party that these charges turn out to be really kalpanik and no harm falls on Mr. Kejriwal. That is what I will hope and pray for. But for this nation, for me personally, I think for majority of the citizens, we are actually ashamed to have a leader in amidst us who had such lofty ideas and who is himself mired in corruption. At least as of now, he's been accused of it. It is alleged that he participated in corruption. So I hope it is all fictitious. Nothing comes out of it. But then, if wishes were horses, you know what we'll do with them. So we'll have to wait and watch. True. But at the moment, I'm afraid the guns, the sword, it is hanging on Mr. Kejriwal.
And like you rightly said, we can only hope that all of this at the end turns out to be kalpanik. Now, just ahead
Absolutely.
of the elections, however, just ahead of the elections, this is a big move for the AAP or the Aam Aadmi Party, a big morale boost for the party as well. Will we have a massive show of strength now, sir, from the AAP collectively? Can we expect that in the aftermath of this bail being granted to Kejriwal, especially just ahead of the upcoming Haryana elections?
This is definitely a morale booster, Anukriti, but only for the Aam Aadmi Party. I am not sure if this will transform into a sympathy wave in the eyes and the minds of the voters. Honestly, during the Lok Sabha elections, a similar scenario was played out, if you remember, if you can recall clearly. Aam Aadmi lost in all the 7 seats of Delhi. So they were not able to make any kind of dent politically. So they lost badly there. So, and in the previous assembly elections, if you take out the records, I think Aam Aadmi contested in far more seats as they are doing. I think they are contesting about 90 seats this time. And so my best wishes to them. But in the last assembly elections, I think they in fact, all of their contestants lost their deposits there. So I don't see much change in the scenario. In fact, Aam Aadmi Party, since a contract, a deal has not they have not been able to strike a deal with the Congress Party. So I think they just might end up playing spoil sport for the Congress Party. So it's a very interesting situation, but I don't see any kind of a sympathy wave being developed or being seen to be developed in favor of Aam Aadmi Party. I don't see that happening.
So this bail aftermath might work as a good opportunity for a grand show of power by the Aam Aadmi Party, but yes, the collective intelligence and the maturity of the Aam Aadmi cannot be underestimated, and we have to give them more credit than what we give them for. So the Aam Aadmi might be able to see through the truth over here, although the Aam Aadmi Party may have all the chance to put up a brave front. So we will just have to wait and watch during the upcoming elections. Now today, sir, before we wrap up this talk, very bold statements were also made by Manish Sisodia, who is also another leader of the Aam Aadmi Party. He said, or rather, according to him, this was not an arrest at all. It was not an arrest based on proven corruption charges. That's what he stated on national television. Rather, this was an insurance arrest because BJP knew that they won't be able to win the upcoming Haryana and the Delhi elections otherwise. Although we do understand that political mudslinging and crying wolf over the opposition is a common matter in politics. Tell us what you have to say on Sisodia ji's comments, sir.
Okay, firstly, on a lighter note, I watched the release of Mr. Kejriwal before I came to your show, Anukriti. And I noticed Mr. Kejriwal was making a small speech, and it goes to the credit of the jail authorities. He lived absolutely fine. Remember, there were a lot of charges and complaints that his weight was falling and his blood sugar levels had gone up.
That's
so
true.
I saw now.
We heard that.
I saw a very hale and hearty Kejriwal. So that, of course, was on a lighter note. But yes, what you just mentioned and what you just asked, it's a very interesting scene out there. Just before the assembly polls, the courts take a decision. Although, if you notice, the honorable judges were divided in their opinion. One judge was insisting that this was a fair arrest of Mr. Kejriwal, while the other was seeing problems in his arrest.
Absolutely.
So there is definitely a difference of opinion here, but definitely some questions have been raised towards the role of the Central Board of Investigation. So that is definitely a concern, because the timing of CBI's arrest was questionable, because Mr. Kejriwal was arrested soon after he got the bail from the ED. So all said and done, the political situation is very interesting, I would say, but not a healthy moment for the Indian democracy. I think we'll have to wait and watch, but I'm sure the party is going to go with full energy. They are going to make a spectacle out of it. But I'm really wondering, what are they going to, what kind of message they will take to the voters at large.
Thank you.
So that has to be seen. My best wishes to Aam Aadmi Party. Although I say this with a lot of a saddening feeling that though I live in a very thriving democracy, but these are not healthy signs for a democracy. You see all kinds of brazenness and bravado being mentioned, and loud words being spoken. But where are the lofty ideas that these leaders would talk about? Where are they? So it's all out there in the open. I think very soon, about fortnight or so, we'll have a clear picture. But all the best.
Thank you so much, sir, for
is
sharing.
What I said.
Thank you so much for sharing your ideas and your insights on this absolutely pertinent topic for today. This is definitely a very important moment in national history. A politician, a leading political player, has just been released from Tihar jail on a bail. He has not been proven guilty and he has neither been proven innocent, but the charges are grave. The charges are big, massive, grave. The charges are based on corruption. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Dr. Viveik Pandit, who had joined us all the way from Uttar Pradesh, a prominent author, and he gave some insightful answers to our questions. Great thoughts, great insights on this matter, and yes, the proof of the pudding lies in its eating. So it is definitely a wait and watch situation to understand whether in the coming days this move by the top court is going to add up to something during the upcoming Delhi and Haryana elections, and is eventually Arvind Kejriwal going to be proven guilty or not. Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen, to CVR English. We are going to keep you posted minute by minute on this breaking news. I'm going to watch you again tomorrow at 7 p.m. on prime time. Until then, keep watching CVR English. Namaskar, Jai Hind. This is Anukriti Sharma signing off.